2000 and whatever to about 2013, 14, I'd say, until Storms came through on the gram thing.
Yeah.
That was dark times for UK, bro. Like, they call it positive discrimination, but it's discrimination nonetheless, do you know what I'm saying? And we know our thing, we're very influential. Our influence per capita is super high.
Strong.
You know what I'm saying? Strong, bro. Like, especially Caribbean. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm Richie Brave, and this is Union Black, an online multi-format content series across YouTube and Google Arts and Culture, featuring a curated collection of videos, audio, documentaries, podcasts, stories, and photographs. It takes us on a journey celebrating the contributions of Black British music artists, creatives, professionals, and scenes. Told by the Black British music community, these stories will demonstrate the undeniable influence and impact of Black British music and culture in the UK and beyond. To check out and discover more stories from Union Black, go to Google Arts and Culture at goo.gal/Union Black. Also, share and let us know your thoughts and what you're thinking using the hashtag Union Black. This is Black British Resistance, a reclaiming of space for Union Black on Google Arts and Culture. Today, I'll be delving into the long-standing barriers that Black artists have encountered within the music industry, from limited access to resources and opportunities to receiving lower budgets for recordings and promotion. These challenges have marginalised Black artists and hindered their artistic journeys. Additionally, attempts by music industry executives to whitewash Black music have further perpetuated inequalities within the industry. In this episode, I will be sitting down with musician Jords. Jords has first-hand experience navigating the music industry and is well-versed in the struggles faced by Black artists. As an artist who carved his own path, he's confronted and overcome these setbacks throughout his career. Jords will shed light on the ways in which these obstacles have impacted the careers of Black artists and on systemic issues. From the challenges of securing adequate resources to the frustrations of seeing Black music being whitewashed. Together, we'll explore the significance of representation and the resilience of Black artists in carving out their spaces within the music industry. Throughout this exploration, we aim to foster understanding, encourage change, and celebrate the underlying impact of Black music and culture. Now, Jords.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me, man.
It's always good to see you, bro.
Yeah, always good to see you. Now, I mean, we've had a few conversations. We're diving in deep today. Can you talk to me about some of the personal challenges and experiences that you've had as a Black artist in the industry, particularly like regarding limited resources or opportunities?
I feel like it's you get put into a box, especially as a rapper. You know, I feel like a lot of artists, they find themselves saying that, oh, I'm not a rapper, I'm more than a rapper, I'm this, you know. And some of the opportunities that get brought your way, it's like, you may want to be a songwriter, but the song, you're being asked to do a feature verse, for example, and it's got to be rap. Can't be melodic. It's got to be rap, etc. When it comes to resources as well, I mean, I guess there's like, for example, at certain shows, you may see another type of band where they bring their whole setup. They bring their guitar, they bring their bass, they bring their drums, they bring their saxophone, piano, etc. Whereas you, as a rapper, they're like, oh yeah, bring your DJ or just send me 3 PAs. And I'm like, that doesn't show the full breadth of my music. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't do me justice. But because I'm a rapper, typecasted, there's a certain type of stereotype that fits that and a certain type of requirement that fits that, which may equal less budget. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So it feels like there's an instant restriction, right, based on being a rapper. And I guess this is the space where we're able to have the conversation without being told, oh, it's not about race. Why are you always bringing up race? So you've kind of given me a context around being a rapper, but being a Black man specifically, right, because we're talking about Black artists. How do you think your Blackness impacts on that space when it comes to the resources, when it comes to the stereotyping?
Every day. I think you're almost forced to speak about your Blackness when sometimes you exist by being Black. Do you know what I'm saying? Your Blackness is in your existence alone. So when things like the George Floyd thing happens, and there's been certain artists that have been called for opportunities where they're like, oh, please speak about your experiences of racism, yeah? And I'm like, it's a bit funny to me that you're pushing me to speak about this thing and be a spokesperson, almost be a token. And they call it positive discrimination, but it's discrimination nonetheless. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, what if I wanted to speak about something different? Happens in other industries where, you know, we have films and TV shows that are has to be about the block, has to be about drug dealing, has to be about the ends, because that's what all black people go through when they're growing up. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, why do we have to speak? Why does it only have to be that? I know certain black kids that went private school and they probably have a different experience. They probably have a different perspective. Why can't those stories be given the same amount of attention, the same amount of resources than these other stories?
Yep.
And I personally think it's to continue the display of a certain image that, you know, is very stereotypical, very typecast, and that's all they know how to market and all they know how to brand, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, I like the fact that you've touched on the breadth of blackness, because there's this whole thing of like, there's only one way to be black, right? And there's multiple experiences, and people outside of our community who aren't black believe there's one type of blackness. And once you thought through all of that, right? And, you know, you've gotten through the door and you're like, no, I don't want to talk about this. I want to do my art in a particular way.
Yeah.
Something that you leaned on when I asked you the first question was about lower budgets, right? And like, you know, artists, like promotion maybe a little bit less, or you're not getting the same backing that other artists might. Can you talk to me about what strategies you've employed to kind of move through that? Because it's one thing saying, you know, I'm bigger than what you see me as when it comes to your particular version of black. Once you're through that door and you're getting people to see that different version, that's not where the barriers stop, right? How did you push through the, you know, less promotion, less budget, etc.?
We get told growing up, work twice as hard to get half as much, right? So it's that, you know, I be, when the album was coming out, I'm writing these things, and don't get twisted, I've got a very good team that are very supportive, but just because it's ingrained in me, I'm writing down documents of, this is where I want the music to go, this is how I want it to be marketed, this is how I want to display my art, and this is, I'm doing the due diligence, bro. Like, I know all the jobs, do you know what I'm saying? Whereas, to be honest, like, other artists probably don't have to do that. They probably don't feel, or they don't feel like they have to do that because the system is more built for them, and it's existed in the past where they've helped contribute to it. Artists like them in that formula have contributed, and there's a formula that works with that type of artist. Whereas someone like myself, I'm multifaceted. I'm not someone that can be put in a particular box. So when they're trying to put these formulas on man, like, oh, how about you, I don't know, just a generic thing, we're going to push you to this playlist, we're going to push you to that playlist, we're going to push you to this Instagram page, we're going to push you to that Instagram page, and let's see what happens. Let's see if something goes viral, yeah? Whereas I'm like, it's not, as an artist and as a black artist, it's never about that for me. It's about where the art is placed, how the art is communicated, and how it's displayed. And sometimes I'm not sure whether it's because I'm a black artist or just because so much of my identity is my blackness, innit? So I think it's my muscle memory to go to sleep thinking about this stuff, and it's my muscle memory to wake up thinking about this stuff, because no one is going to work harder than me on my thing. And a big part of that is probably because we've grown up in a society where you have to do that because you're black, you know?
Yeah, I find that so interesting. I interviewed Whoopi Goldberg once, and she mentioned something really similar to you. I asked her about being a black artist, and she was like, or a black actress. She was like, I've always been black, you know? Like, this is just part of my whole experience as a person. And a lot of artists that I interview say the same thing. They're like, I don't just take off my blackness when I go to sleep. It's part of my whole experience. So I wanted to ask you a question based on what you said, and that's the emotional impact of that process, right? So can you talk to me about the emotional impact of that creation process, and also what it feels like creating this art and giving it to somebody else, and maybe they don't understand your vision or the work that's gone into it?
I think like, first thing, the creation, like, my album, you've heard my album. I'm talking about a lot of course. And I'm
let's not be stiff in it. I mean, of course I heard it a few times, actually.
Come on. Yeah. So you hear it in it. It's a lot of it's like processing trauma, processing blackness. Like, I stand in my blackness naturally. It's not a thing that I have to try and do, and so, but the effect of talking about it and having to live it. Even a song like Drill vs. Grime, for example, yeah, where it's good youths, but we still fight heartless. There's a lyric on there, and I'm like processing all of that, being the good guy who's been put into situations that are traumatic, growing up, socio-economic reasons for whatever. That's a lot to process in itself, yeah. So I needed to recover from making it first and foremost. Then you're having to think about selling it, which is like, how do you sell yourself? Do you know what I'm saying? How do you sell yourself? What does that feel like, you know?
That feels icky, even when you say it. It's a bit like...
Because in my heart, good music should spread naturally, innit? But obviously, we're operating in a business, so we're a business and things have to move in a certain way for the business to succeed, yeah? But so much of my identity is wrapped up in the thing that we're selling. So like, that's understanding that it needs to be done and doing it are two different things, and it weighs very heavy on your head, and especially when you're stepping into a world where you're not represented, you're not seen, you're not heard. So trying to make yourself seen and heard without being problematic and without being controversial, because a lot of the time people were pushed into being controversial to make noise, and it's like, that's never the type of thing that I would want to represent. Like, I come from a good family. If my family saw me moving mad, do you know what I'm saying? It would be crazy,
you be getting
bro.
phone calls, innit? International phone calls like that,
yeah, all hours of night, bro. So it's like, it's a struggle when so many black artists are seen as controversial, and that's what brings them to the success.
I want to go to like whitewashing, right? I mean, we're being candid here, you know, we're talking up the things, that's why we're here. So have you witnessed whitewashing of black artists and black music?
What would you define as whitewashing?
Taking something that essentially is, we're speaking about blackness here, right?
Yeah.
So something that's rooted in your blackness, that's been shaped in your blackness, and it's reshaped to fit a white gaze. So white people are able to consume it, or some types of white people are able to consume it in a better way.
I talk to the OGs, innit? Like, I have conversations with the OGs, and they tell me all the time, in their time.
You care to share, like, or 20, now? You say
just from like 2000 and whatever to about 2013, 14. I'd say, until Storms came through on the gram thing.
Yeah,
that was dark times for UK, bro. Like, don't get it twisted. We were successful, whatever, but the music was not our music, man. Like, it wasn't for us. It was by us, but it wasn't for us, innit? And like, coming up and seeing someone have the original source, then all of a sudden they're doing this techno house, which isn't a bad thing.
I mean,
but
I'm a house fan. You know?
I'm a house
man.
house
music's black music.
Man, love house music.
But it's a certain type of sound.
You know the vibe. Like, it's a certain type of music that we know just isn't for us, and you see it because something happens, artist gets signed, then all of a sudden there's this big change, and it's like, whoa, this is crazy. They didn't know what to do with us back then. Nowadays, I think there's been some development, but there's still like that push for just for arting not to be arting, you know? Like, you have all these other white artists coming through doing the same music that man's doing, using the same samples that were actually samples at the time, like these 2000 samples that are getting remade into these samples. That's our music, and then and the samples aren't even respectful to the art, if you ask me. It's just copying a 4-bar loop and copying the same chorus and then making that your chorus. All of a sudden, it sells a million copies, and it's like, how is that pushing anything forward? That's not pushing anything forward. That's not moving the art forward for me, first and foremost. It's not moving blackness forward. You know, it's not progressive for us.
Are you saying there's a discrepancy between us being able to eat and be successful from our music, and when a white artist picks up our music and their level of success that they reach? Yeah,
of course. And I don't even think that's a knock to the artist. I think it's a knock to the machine, and it's a knock to potentially the audience. Like, the white audience is much bigger than the black audience, yeah. And we know our thing. We're very influential. Our influence per capita is super high.
Strong.
You know what I'm saying? Strong, bro. Like, especially Caribbean. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, Yeah, I see it all the time, bro. Like there's certain artists that are jumping on remixes of songs, like drill songs, for example, taking the source, getting touring the world off of this song, and not even bringing the artist along who put them on the remix in the first place, bro. Like, we don't even have to name no names for that, but like, that's how does that help anyone? Like, you're not changing someone's. If for me, I don't know. I come from a Caribbean background. When you bring someone in, and that's family, and you bring man around the world, and it's the transaction isn't even financial. It's yo man, you got this, you got veg. Okay, cool. I'll give you some sugar.
Yes.
And we'll swap.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? But that transaction seems to be heavily weighed in one way, and then the way society is, it makes it feel like the person who brought the source isn't essential to the source as well. You know, it's the person who takes the source that becomes essential. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that still. I'm not a fan.
I hear it totally. And Jords, you spoke about the machine, right? And this machine that I think, you know, when you're an artist, it isn't just about creating art. You can't just, some people do create art and just put it out there. But in order to be successful and to eat off of it, there's this whole machine that you need to be part of.
Yeah.
And speaking about that machine, I mean, and you've spoken about the marginalization of Black artists. What do you feel like the machine, the industry can do to address the marginalization of Black artists?
Give us the money, man. Give us the money, bro.
You said cash
money.
money.
Yeah. Give us the money. Give us the money. Let us make the decisions. And let's keep this all the way transactional.
What stops it though? So when you're saying give us the money, like what is stopping that money? And are people honest? Like, have you heard anyone come out and say, yo, like, we don't give Black artists more money? Has anyone been honest about where it's at? Or is this kind of cloak and dagger?
It's cloak and dagger. Yeah, I think people ain't, and the people that are honest and until they're not honest. You know,
got it. Until their checks are affected.
Yeah, until the checks are affected, then you're not honest. Then when your thing's on the line, how much are you going to put on the line? Even myself, I'm like, wait, I'll say some things, but I don't want to cut my neck off, you know, like cut my nose to spite my face. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, the way the game is, like you come in a lot of people come into this game wide-eyed and hopeful that they're going to change things, and then you realize why things don't change, and then you either don't change or change, and the change might be the reason why you get left behind, which to me is crazy because usually it's evolve or die. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how much of yourself do you want to give away in order to benefit the people that come after you? Do you know what I'm saying? Or how much of your energy can you really protect to do that?
That sounds so difficult to me. Like, that sounds, I think sometimes we don't see artists as people, we just see them as artists, right?
I've got a very black team, you know. I'm at Motown. The team is very black. I really love my team.
That's historical.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, like, there are historic things in place that, for me, systemically don't make sense. And when something to me doesn't make sense systemically, the only way you can get past it is to do something completely different or break it down and start again. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm trying. Like, the fact that I'm on Motown, for example, I've got a black team. Everyone that's involved with the album, the person who did the artwork is black. The person who directed the film is a black woman. My manager's black. I'm black. You know, all the voices
all
on
black.
It's just very black, innit? And it's not saying that everyone is it's an exclusively black project, because there are people that are white that work with it, and I appreciate their contributions as well. But if you are working with it, you need to understand what you're working with. Like, you really need to understand it from the depths of what you're working with. And I think the fact that I'm on Motown helps the people that are working with it understand, because Motown is historic. So there's context that comes with that, and I feel like I'm a bit of an anomaly where my blackness is understood to a point anyway. But there's also like, you have to fight, bro. You have to fight to be yourself.
It's like, given you have to fight, is maintaining your integrity against the expectations of the industry, because you kind of touch on it. Is that hard? Like, how are you able to juggle the two?
It's not hard for me. I just say no. Yeah, I just say no.
Where does that get you, right? So you just say no,
Yeah.
and we hear that from a lot of people. We just say no. What happens after you say no? What's the consequences of saying no?
You miss out on things that aren't for you. You
Right.
know, I'm more afraid of saying yes and doing things that aren't for me.
Thanks for coming.
But this is for me, bro. But like, if I say yes and then I end up in a place where I feel like I'm really not being myself, and that's the thing that gets 1 million streams or 5 million streams, and then I have to do another thing that doesn't feel like myself, and then I have to do another. All of a sudden, I'm this coconut, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm this person that ain't me, bro. Like, I'm just playing a role and alienating my community, bro. And I always want to align with my community. I have a tribe with me, so the minute I start to alienate them is when I know that I'm maybe on the wrong path.
And as a black artist, what does that tribe do for you?
Can weigh you down sometimes. Yeah, it can weigh you down sometimes because, like, you have to carry a lot of people. You got to be a therapist for a lot of people, even though sometimes you might need a therapist. You know what I'm saying? But at the times when you need it, if I call the man and I say, "Yo, I got a show," and I'm kind of nervous about this one, and then I just pull up 30 strong. Yeah, that's my tribe. Like, they show up when they're needed, and that's the main thing.
What advice would you give for artists stepping into the industry?
Really follow your feeling. Yeah, really follow your feeling, man, and really protect your energy, because you can yes yourself into situations that you don't even know weren't the right situation for you. But if you feel it, even if you're the one person in the room that feels it and no one else feels it, like, follow that feeling.
That's hard though, right? Like, if you're like if you're coming in with a tribe, right? So there are multiple people that are eating with you, and something doesn't feel right to you. But for a lot of people, this is like, yo, this is taking me out of the situation that I'm in. Isn't that difficult to just, do you know what I mean? When you've got that much responsibility to carry.
No one said it was easy. Yeah, no one said it was easy. Like,
very simply said.
Yeah. It's not easy, bro. I'm not gonna act like it's simple and that, all of a sudden it looks like how it looks in the movies. Do you know what I'm saying? But, like, I'd say, also, like, put yourself on first. I think that's a mistake that I made. I didn't put myself on first.
What do you mean when you say that?
Like, I got in and everyone was in at the same time.
Right.
And then I was like, oh snap, I don't even know what this is. I need to give me like a year. Let me figure out what this thing is, what it's really saying, what everyone's on, how it works, how it maneuvers, how I can bring back and do it differently, for example. And then let me open the door and say, okay, it's safe, come through. Whereas I was excited and it's working, don't get it twisted, but it's carrying people whilst you're still learning to carry people is a lot more difficult than learning to carry people and then carrying people,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And there are multiple people eating off of you as an artist.
Yeah.
So not just the tribe that you bring in with you, but also the people that you sign with and the industry that we're talking about, right? How important is it for black artists to have ownership and control over their music, over their sound, things like intellectual property, all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, how important do you think that is, given that there's such a machine that exists around music?
It's key to know what it is, It's key to know what it is. So if you know what it is, you know exactly how much you're willing to give away. Whereas a lot of men sign deals, and, like, I signed when I was 25, so I was old enough to know, yeah. A lot of men sign when they're 17, and they don't even know. They just see 60 bags, bro. Like, and now when I deep it, 60 bags for 3 albums, what's that?
Mahaley she was talking recently about her experience. Yeah.
She was 13. Like,
yeah.
Imagine being signed up to a job that you're gonna work for X amount of years when you're 13 years old, bro. Like, that's, the music industry is like no other, the way it can just pluck someone from when they're young and pick someone from when they're young, but also chew them up and spit them out. And whilst you're chewing them up, telling them, no, you're doing great, man. Yeah, you're doing great.
This sounds amazing.
This is wonderful. Yeah. Like, it's rare that I have people tell me my stuff is I like hearing that. Or I like hearing someone say I don't like this. And a lot of the time, like, I'd say you're not looking for a no, you're looking for an absence of a yes, innit?
Right.
which it really can mess up your mind, because I come from a time when it's no is no and yes is yes. And then you come around and all of a sudden you're like having to work out what people are saying.
Like that. That kind of
like I look at when you play someone your music, and so I look for, like, you can tell me this, oh yeah, tune's cold, bro, but if your body ain't moving with the record, I've seen a cold record. You get me? I know what I do when I hear a cold record.
And the hairs on the back of your neck
you
stand up.
I start sweating. I'm like, whoa, this is oh man, like start this again. You get me? Like,
yeah.
Someone are just there, like,
You know, we've spoken about ownership and control. We've spoken about being able to make good decisions, but that comes from feeling empowered, right? Some of us are coming from an environment or environments where we haven't been empowered. Society hasn't empowered us. So what more can be done to empower?
People need OGs. More. People need OGs, bro.
Are you hoping to be one
I'm
of the
trying
OGs?
to be an OG still. So when man come and say, yo, this and that, I'll say, maybe that and this. Have you thought about this and that? And I've got my guy, Marga. This is my guy. I talk to him about things. Like I said, I talk to a lot of the OGs. Like I talk to Wretch, J2K, like Josh McNasty. Like I have guys that say, you know, they just tell me how it is. You know, they tell me how it is, and it's not someone that makes the decision for you. Just someone that can help you see the full picture so you can make a better decision, because I don't ever think you should determine someone's path. All you can do is show them all the paths and let them choose what path to walk down, you know. But I think that happens with time. I think the UK scene, especially the rap scene, grime scene, we're probably like 10, 20 years behind the US scene. And it came to a point where you started seeing the, like, Rockefeller. You had the US man start becoming execs. You had Def Jam.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Diddy. Like, they became the execs and they started to spit game. And I think now the OGs in our game are getting to that age. You have Wretch, who's creative director at 0207.
I mean, they got Wretch every time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's inside. You got Twin, who's also at 0207. The Motown team, like I said, the Black team at 3A. You have people there that are starting.
JP at Complex.
What a guy, bro. That's my guy.
Such a guy, man.
It's happening. I think you have to give it patience. And don't let yourself be swayed from the path, because it's a long path and quick money can come and quick money can change your mind very quickly. But, you know, it's not about money. It's not about money at all. It's about integrity. Keep making a corny, but making a better world for who comes next.
Is that corny though, or is that like should that be at the center? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a corny guy.
Maybe I'm a corny guy too, you know. Maybe I'm a corny guy too, bro. Like, it's because, of course, we want to leave a better world for people. I want to leave a better world for people like me. If there was another Jordan, a clone of myself that was 16 years old, I'd want him to have an easier path than I did. Do you know what I'm saying? So if I can do whatever I can to make that happen, if the people that came before me and that are coming after me can do more to make that happen, then we should, you know.
So I wanted to ask about social media and how we move into social media and the impact, right, that social media has had on Black artists. Because we're in a totally new age, right? We didn't have this in the 90s, maybe even the early 2000s. What part does social media play on the impact on Black artists?
It's so mad because it's detrimental and it helps out so much as well. So there's so many artists that can be seen and heard now through social media platforms. I probably wouldn't have been able to be seen and heard if it wasn't for YouTube back 10 years ago. But now we have so many other platforms like the I Am Just Bates, the Young Kings, those kind of pages that make artists every day. But then at the same time, it can be detrimental because it peddles a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of conversations that on social media that people that aren't educated in the topics are talking about the topics and becoming the voice for the topics. Even music. Some of the people that are the gatekeepers of this music thing don't know music, bro. How does that make sense?
I've noticed that.
You're not gonna have a
not sending.
I'm not sending. Maybe I'm sending.
This is your place.
Yeah, like I don't know who. For my thing is who taught you, who raised you, who gave you the voice, or is this just a clout thing? And I've seen some of these, like, I'll just see some people that are put in positions where you can tell that there's a bias there, but there's not a bias there but it's all opinions anyway. Like music is all opinions, bro. Like it doesn't. But then, should your opinion dictate the opinion of the masses? I don't think so. I don't think that's fair for anyone.
Well, given what you said a bit earlier on around the way that you feel music, if we've all got different taste buds when we eat food and drink drinks, we're all going to feel differently about music. So sometimes something that isn't critically acclaimed, when I listen to it, I'm like, this bangs. Are you lot? Like, are we hearing the same thing? You know?
And the other way around, I hear some songs that I don't like blowing up, and I'm like, cool, okay. But my thing is, I just say that's not for me. Simple. I don't say whether it's good. I don't say whether it's bad. I don't say anything. I say this is not for me. Yeah.
Do you think it makes it easier for Black artists to connect with people who will enjoy their music and connect to their audiences? Does it remove that gatekeeping that you're speaking about and provide a wider avenue for people to connect with people that maybe they wouldn't have before?
To a point, I'd say. To a point. There's
Talk to me
context
from
to
your own
it.
experience.
Someone this morning hit me up from Australia saying, I love your work. I'm about to go studio with a guy from Nigeria, and there's another guy from Trinidad who's flown in, and we're going to be in the studio, and the guy from Nigeria is helping me get out to South Africa, and then I'm going to go to South Africa and plug my music. Do you know what I'm saying?
International.
Like, yeah, like it's but that's cool. But that took me a lot of understanding what's not for me to realize what is for me. And I think where there's these meme pages pushing music, or these tastemakers that their taste isn't your taste, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And when you wake up, it's very easy to get in a spiral of envy, because you wake up, you see the people that they're pushing. You're like, oh, why ain't man pushing me, bro? Like, I worked so hard for this. You know, why aren't I being pushed? And it's not about looking over there and seeing it as that. It's about looking at what you have and where the love gets attracted to you. I get love all day on social media, but I can wake up annoyed because I've not got love from a certain someone. That doesn't make no sense. I shouldn't ignore all the love that I'm receiving, you know. And for me, someone said, it's a lyric, the grass is greener where you water it. So
I like that.
If you see it like that and see what comes to you as whatever comes to you is for you, and what doesn't come to you isn't for you, then it will be easier for you to find your tribe, connect to your tribe, wherever that may be, and then spread your art to where you're valued, you know, whether that be here or not. Because I do think in the UK it can become quite toxic. There's been a lot of these people, like the Mahalia, coming out and saying X, Y, Z. Like, you've had it from Hardy. I think Bree Runway left EMI recently, and it's like, yeah, but there's a whole world of love out there for you, man. Like, we hear you and we see you, because it is frustrating, but that's probably because you're just in the wrong place. You know, there's a quote about a bottle of Evian. Yeah, you buy a bottle of Evian from the corner shop at 60p. You buy it from WH Smith's is £1.50. You buy it from a train station, it's £2.50. Bottle don't change. The value is determined by where it's placed. So if you're placed in the right place, you will feel your worth in it. So yeah.
I love that. And other water brands are available. How have you seen music move social change and move people to create a difference? And the reason why I asked you this question, let me give you some context. You know, our music quite often has been a music of resistance, right? You know, when people came over in the Windrush, there was music talking about their experiences of the Teddy Boys and racism. In our lovers rock music, they speak black is my color, right? You know, when we talk about the ways in which resistance and blackness is rooted in our music, how have you seen Black artists use their music to create social change and move the status quo in the industry?
I think for me, Stormzy's a good example. Like, did the grime thing, and he did it relentlessly. Like, he went to the block, he was in South, did the thing. Like, I know he had money to get some Prada stuff, but he wore the Adidas cap. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wore the Adidas cap, he repped his thing, and he was himself, innit? He was himself, and when he became himself, it blew up. Everyone started getting the goggle hats
do you remember them?
And the little caps, and then Skepta followed suit, or they both did it together and whatnot. Section Boys as well. And like Section, let's not say the music that they wasn't about the music necessarily, it's the fact that they're existing in this world that is driving social change, you know what I'm saying? And just seeing Stormzy's team now, like I'm these from my ends, innit? So a lot of them, man, I know them, man, bro, and they're like they've got big jobs at Murky, or they're doing this at Def Jam, and I'm like, this is sick to see. But then there's also the side where it's musical, and you know, you have to speak about your truth in your music. I'd say, even referring to myself, like making a song like Black and Ready, I donated all the profits to the Black Curriculum, which is a charity.
Yeah.
You know, being able to do that from sound is crazy. Like that's real social change. And then even like doing my Pitney Uniforms charity work, seeing other people doing charity work, like even Dave, he did a big shoe giveaway, a trainer giveaway, and the Trapstar collaboration, which then made them both crazy amounts of profit. But then that's black people employing black people doing great things. And when you learn that you can work across these mediums and you realize that you are the source and they need us because they need ideas, you know, to push them. And the ideas bring in the business, it brings in the profit, but also there's a way that you can share the pie so everyone wins. And you know, there's plenty examples of that. I've just named a few, but yeah, I can go on and on.
Do you ever have to balance your desire to make music that moves you and the expectations of your audience? Or do they just kind of sit hand in hand because they've been on this journey with you?
I did that for a while and then I realised the music was dead because of it, if I'm honest.
Very honest, Jords.
Yeah, the music I made because of that was dead, bro. Like, it weren't connecting because it weren't connecting. How am I going to make music that connects with people if I don't connect with myself, you know? Or the people around me? Then it becomes, oh yeah, this is a vibe, it's cool. And that's it. Whereas since I've like, for this album, again, I had to dig a lot deeper. I had to start rapping again, bro. I went back to the ends and I was like, man, am I good at rapping? Like, am I actually good at rapping? Because I don't know. And they're like, yeah, but I feel like you've been around the industry, man, a bit too long. And
you have to go back to the roots.
Yeah, like, I have to go back to the roots and really, because the roots is the source, and that's where you get it from, you know. And like I said, this whole infrastructure doesn't exist without music. And if you look at the history of music, if we're really going back to the history of music, all modern music nowadays comes from slavery. So that's the original source. And that is when there was no money there. Like, so of course you have to tap into your roots, bro. Of course you have to tap into your roots. That's the only thing that connects. That's the only thing that got them through. And that's the only thing that gets us through, you know? So yeah, it goes without saying for me now.
I got a final question for you.
What
changes would you like to see in the music industry regarding black artists? What would you change? What does the future look like?
It looks more self-governed and more self-owned. So it doesn't look like 80-20, you know? These deals
What's 80-20 for people who don't know?
Most record deals, the standard is 80-20. So the record deal gets 80% until you recoup. You have other deals, you can you know, get 60-40, 50-50, whatever. But the default deal, I'd say, would be 50-50 in my eyes. Not just for black artists, to be honest, for artists as well. But and also before artists would sign, I think there would be like a consultation where someone just tells you about the things in your language, you know, before you get the chance to sign. I'm also not sure anyone should sign under the age of 18, maybe even 21. Unless there's supervision and, you know,
well, you
proper
can't
things
vote,
in place.
But you can sign your life away.
Can't vote, can't drink.
Yeah.
But can sign all the art that you're going to create, and your art is also assets, you know. Like, if you see an album as a house, yeah, and your album, so for example, Glide, let's talk about Glide. Glide's the last independent record that I made. Glide gives me a certain amount of money per month, and that's my asset, you know. Whereas album, Dirt and the Diamond, let's say it's a house, I got a mortgage on it. I put a mortgage on Dirt and the Diamond, got some cash, and then, you know, the sales would start to pay it off. So if you just breaking it down in that language, I feel like it can make you, you know, make a better decision rather than, oh, we're going to give you this advance and then you get X amount until you recoup, and then after you recoup, there's X amount, but you have to account for X amount as well. It's just, yo, this is what you're getting. Flip it, bring it back, and then you make a little bit on top.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Jords, I think that's really, it sounds like a simple point, but I think it's really profound because I think a lot of young artists, and you said this is an industry that wasn't set up for us, right? And some of these spaces aren't set up for us, but the importance of understanding what you're walking into, people using language and interpreting things in a way that you understand, creating a space for you in the industry to walk in and be a whole person, people stopping you from selling out yourself, tribes that support you moving forwards, understanding that you're not a product or a person. There are so many gems that I think you've dropped in this conversation that I think as not just black artists, but black consumers. And even if you're not black, as a person who consumes black art, there have been so many points to consider today. So I just want to thank you for just sharing your insights, sharing the love. You know, I love talking to you,
it's
man.
Always
just sharing
good.
your
it's
time.
Always good, man.
It's a real pleasure. You've been watching me, Richie Brave, and this is Black British Resistance, a reclaiming of space for uni and black on Google Arts and Culture. Produced by Unedited.